Before TMC MP Mahua Moitra's scheduled deposition before the Lok Sabha ethics panel, fresh shots are being fired from both sides in the cash for query saga. After Mahua Moitra's admission that she did share her parliamentary login details with businessman Darshan Hiranandani to facilitate posting of questions, BJP MP Nishikant Dubey has countered her defense that there was nothing wrong in doing so. Dubey has quoted the email and password policy of Government of India, citing specific provisions that barred legislators from making credentials public. So there's a war of words going on between both leaders. Remember, Mahua Moitra will depose before the ethics panel, and before that she in fact said that she did give her login details, credentials to Darshan Hiranandani, and also said that there's nothing wrong in it, which was countered by Nishikant Dubey. He is citing the policy of Government of India, and he says that sharing of the password is not allowed. We have Pratibha joining us from the big screen, in fact, to explain what the laws say. Yes, Pratibha.
Yes, so this is a big charge against Mahua Moitra, is that the login credentials, Swati, have been shared with Darshan Hiranandani. So this is the policy of the Government of India, and very clearly in the very first page here that Times Now has access, it says that it is it's not allowed to share the login credentials. It says here users must ensure that the information about password is not shared with anyone, and this is at the very first page. It mentions here that users must not give that the credentials to anyone else. So the ethics committee is looking at the violation of the same, and it also says here, as we pointed out here, the passwords shall not be shared with anyone. Remember, Mahua Moitra has said that yes, she has shared the password with some, and many have been saying that this in itself is a violation because the rules very clearly say that any member of the Lok Sabha should not do that. And this it also says, the password policy also says that it shall not be shared with even the PAs or secretaries. Remember, when she took to the social media handle on X, she said that there are many. She seemed to be hinting that several Lok Sabha members do the same. They share their passwords with the PAs and their secretaries. And the password policy also very clearly says that it should not be revealed unless permitted by the designated authority. So this is what the rule very clearly says. The ethics committee will of course be looking at whether these rules have been violated or not. Mahua Moitra herself has been summoned on the 2nd of November, telling very clearly that there is not going to be any extension to that, Swati.
Right. So there has been a violation. Now remember, the ethics committee of the Lok Sabha is looking into the complaint alleging that Moitra took bribes from businessman Darshan Hiranandani to target the Adani group. Moitra has dismissed the charges and rejected any quid pro quo. Times Now group editor Navika Kumar spoke to Darshan Hiranandani about this password controversy. Listen in.
You did use the login and password of her Lok Sabha Member of Parliament account for asking questions. Did you actually use them from Dubai, Ms. Hiranandani, and did it ever cross your mind that this was probably not quite the right thing to do?
Certainly, that part is an error of judgment.
Some members of Parliament in the BJP have raised the question about national security.
To be honest, I have no idea about all of that. I can only state the facts.
How often did you use that login account to put in questions via Mahua Moitra in Parliament?
I think let the record come out. I think it'll speak for itself.
So our colleagues Mohit Bhatt and Aishwarya Jain joining us on the broadcast with the details of what's expected next. Mahua Moitra has been summoned on the 2nd of November. Very clearly, the ethics committee also saying that no further extensions are going to be entertained. Mohit, now it's on Mahua Moitra to give her version of what happened. But as we've just played out, the rules very clearly say that the credentials should not be shared with anyone.
And that is what is being quoted by Nishikant Dubey, saying that according to the password and email policy of Government of India 2014, the password should not be shared with anybody. And he goes on to say that this is a bigger scam and a serious scam from the cash query scam in 2005. So serious questions are being asked by Nishikant Dubey. Now the policy that Nishikant Dubey has quoted clearly says, and I would like to read a word from that. The first point of the policy statement is the users shall be responsible for all the activities performed with their personal user IDs. Users shall not permit other to perform any activities with their user IDs or perform any activity with IDs belonging to other user. So that is where Nishikant Dubey and BJP is hitting out at Mahua Moitra, where they say that how exactly Darshan Hiranandani had access to Mahua Moitra. And now we know that Mahua Moitra has clearly stated that yes, Darshan Hiranandani has had the details of her login credentials, but she says that this is nothing wrong. She also goes on to say in various interviews that she has given that many of the Member of Parliament's accounts are being used by their personal staff. But if we talk about this particular policy that Nishikant Dubey has tweeted, it clearly says that nobody else than the MP should have the access to the login credentials. So this is the point that BJP would again want to make in front of the Ethics Committee, and they are again and again coming out, they are attacking Mahua Moitra.
Right.
And Mahua Moitra has clearly stated that even after Darshan Hiranandani has given the affidavit,
right,
he doesn't mention anything about the cash that was being given to
all right,
Mahua
Mohit, stay
Moitra.
on with us. Let me go across to Aishwarya. One, of course, is the issue of sharing of the password of login ID of the Lok Sabha website. And Aishwarya, the other angle is of taking bribe in lieu of asking questions in Parliament that the ethics panel will be looking into.
Well, Mahua Moitra clearly claims that she has not taken any sort of cash. It is just few gifts that Darshan Hiranandani gave to her while coming from Dubai by duty free, and that's only that she had. If Darshan Hiranandani had certain claims, then Mahua Moitra also asked the ethics committee to cross-examine Darshan Hiranandani with her when on November 2nd she will be appearing in front of the ethics committee. While there are claims which have been made by Mahua Moitra that it is each and every member of parliament who give their login credentials to their PAs and to their family members to post questions. The rules are rules, and that's what Nishikant Dubey had stated in this particular tweet, stating the entire policy that each and every login credential should be undertaken by those who had been the administrator of that, and it should not be shared. If anything wrong happens, then that person is responsible. So rules are rules, and that's Mahua Moitra need to explain, and that's where the national security is being questioned by the Bharatiya Janata Party leaders, that it's a issue of national
so
security.
Mahua Moitra saying that these were just gifts, some of them being given by Darshan Hiranandani. Stay with us. We have Mr. Nalin Kohli of the BJP joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Nalin Kohli, Mahua Moitra seems to be hinting that the credentials are shared by many of the MPs with their PAs and secretaries, and these were not gifts that were given to ask questions, but these were just some gifts that were given by the businessmen to her.
That is what she would like to project, and she's entitled to. She's entitled to take whatever defense she wishes to take. But the fact of the matter is she will have to go before the ethics committee and make good her defense. The angularity or the allegation against Ms. Moitra is that she asked a set of questions. Those questions target a business entity. Those questions, hello?
Yes.
Those questions were apparently or seemed to be indicated as per the complaint made by Mr. Nishikant Dubey, that these were driven by a business group against a business group and used to target the BJP politically and its leadership. Now, it's a serious charge because we've had in the past where cash for questions in 2005 led to the disqualification of several members of parliament. It shocked the conscience of the whole, citizens. Now, Ms. Moitra, if she has received gifts, has she declared those gifts? Has she taken those gifts? Is there a link between when she received those gifts and the questions were asked? These are things she has to finally answer.
These are things that of course, the panel, the ethics committee will look into it. Thank you very much, Mr. Kohli. We also have Charu Pragya of the BJP on the broadcast with us. Charu Pragya, now, as far as the affidavit of Darshan Hiranandani is concerned, nowhere does it talk about any cash trail, about, giving her those gifts because she was asking those questions. There's no direct link, at least in the affidavit.
Good morning, Swati. I think the affidavit and the statements given after that by Mahua Moitra are very self-explanatory, because the affidavit talks about a person, a business house, using the login ID and credentials of a sitting member of parliament for their own selfish needs. And at the same time, very recently, when Mahua Moitra was speaking to members of the press, she admitted to sharing that password. She admitted to accepting gifts, and that's pretty much an admission of guilt in my eyes. She's not denying any of it. In fact, she's very blatant about not even a PN, not even a member of her staff, but somebody who's not even an Indian citizen having access to her login ID and password. The ethics committee is meeting very soon, but see how Mahua Moitra, who kept saying she's going to cooperate with all the inquiries, keeps pushing the dates. So every time a date's given to her, she does not want to turn up, and she keeps asking for extra time. I think that's another thing that we need to keep an eye on. Make sure she turns up for these queries and inquiries, and we need to get to the root of this, because in the past, as just now Mr. Kohli was also saying, 11 MPs have been expelled from Parliament, and the court has upheld this decision. It's a pious place, really. It's a temple, our Parliament of our democracy, and we cannot have a politician
Mahua Moitra will be appearing on the 2nd of November, Charu, and
a few petty gifts.
Oh, all right, Charu, Mahua Moitra will be appearing before the committee on the 2nd of November, but she has been saying in her defense that she is an opposition Lok Sabha MP. She is raising an issue and she has raised an issue of Adani time and again, and she says that that's the only reason why she is being targeted, that as an opposition MP, it is her right to speak up. Now, the information may have been given by another businessman, but it was in the interest of the nation that she asked these questions in the Parliament.
Not in the interest of the nation, Swati. Not even in the interest of her poor constituents. The questions she raised were only in her own interest. And what a feeble answer this is that Mahua is giving. Tell me, for a parliamentarian who's raising 61 questions, 50 revolve around the Hiranandani group. She's not concerned about a school, a hospital, a road, electricity, or any other facility that the people of Krishnanagar need. It's a backward constituency. Have you ever heard of her talking about the things that not her constituents or even her state needs? She is focused on this quid pro quo arrangement where she is getting questions fed into the parliament system. She's just repeating them like a parrot in parliament and taking money from it. I'm sorry, this is a very feeble defense, because you were not speaking out against the Adani group. You were only speaking in favor, and these were policy questions, Swati. If you get into the details of the kind of questions that were asked out of these 50 questions, a lot of them were policy related questions. She's talking about what's happening on the border area. She's asking about which companies are given contracts there. So it was direct benefit to one group, and that group admits to it as well. And let's also remember, Darshan Hiranandani has given a sworn affidavit. If he's lied in it, he could be charged with a case of perjury. So, and not just one, there are 2 affidavits which stand against her today, and she herself keeps admitting to guilt.
All right, Charu Pragya, thank you very much for joining us with your perspective. We have our reporters on the broadcast as well. Mohit Bhatt is there with us. Mohit, so far, Mahua Moitra has responded to every allegation that has been leveled against her. But, now she has to answer the ethics committee. And she will have to answer some tough questions, be it about taking gifts, luxury items, and money for asking questions, or be it about sharing of the password, which in fact publicly she has admitted she has already done, and she finds nothing wrong in it.
Well, Mahua Moitra has clearly stated that sharing of login credentials with anybody is something which all the other MPs are doing. Their staff also has access to the login credentials of those MPs. But if you go by the password policy, it clearly says nobody can have access other than the member of parliament of that particular password. So the defense is coming in from Mahua Moitra. The allegations are against her. So that remains to be seen what exactly the ethics committee will have to say. But when it comes to the cash part, Mahua Moitra clearly says that it does not corroborate with the statement or the affidavit that has come in from Darshan Hiranandani. She clearly says that that there is no mention of cash being taken by Mahua Moitra, which according to Jai Anand Dehadrai was in the tune of 2.75 crore rupees. So she's basically saying, where is the cash trail? Where was the money taken? It's not a small amount.
So it now all boils down to the evidence that will be provided. The ethics committee will look into Mahua's side of it as well. But what is the evidence that will be provided is the question. Mohit, thank you for joining us with those details. Quick break now. We'll be right back.